everyday life. And of course, my legendary co host, Mr. Mark L. Christensen.
Good day, Daniel. Glad to be here.
Yes, another week, another great episode for sure on Science 101. And
Yes.
Mr. Mark, last week we talked about what again?
You mean last week?
Yes, we talked
I for,
about
what did we talk? I
um
forgot.
yes, we talked about I think the what they call I myself I forgot.
Oh,
So
cosmonosis.
cosmonosis, yes.
Yes. The galactic
Cosmonosis.
view of expanding matter and kind of a fungus.
Mm-hmm.
And the hidden intention to make us. There's evidence of that.
The hidden to make it for all of
Yes.
us. So today, what will be our topic today, Mr. Mark?
Well, I'd like to go over the biology that had evolved into us from beginning to us and how it is still one large family of biology and it's kind of one animal.
Mm,
So
yes, the
yeah, try and be
biology.
try and do it slowly and yeah, ask questions along the way if you can.
Yes, definitely. So, what is all about biology of us?
Well, it's we are biology and we're the results of evolved biology. It didn't happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened, yeah, it started right around with the beginning of the earth as it started to cool, and started with amino acids, uh, and the first bacteria was archaea like, uh, and this is 4 billion years ago, and this very first cell was also born in an environment where it was about 150 degrees, 180 degrees water, and then it started to cool. Um, Now, it's important to realize that when you have an animal like a bacteria, it needs to eat something, right? We all eat something or one another, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Definitely.
try to go a day without lunch. It's really hard, and that's by design. So these bacteria in the beginning, it's hard to understand, how the first one came around, the mother cell, if you want to call it, and then what did it eat? It didn't eat a rock. It didn't eat water, because that's all there was in the very beginning was rock and water. So the the very beginning of these cells were like they emerged all at once in the billions in a small pool somewhere or down into the ocean with one of those vents, but a lot of them evolved at the same time, kind of like the Big Bang, where there wasn't so much a singularity, but it kind of all emerged at the same time. So all these the beginning cells, amino acids, and archaea started all at the same time, so that had food to eat because they ate each other, and that's all there was to eat. It was very cannibalistic in the beginning, and for billions of years.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you can imagine that, it's just billions and billions of bacteria eating off other bacteria, and this after billions of years, prokaryota became a full cell, a full functioning cell, but it didn't have a nucleus. So it wasn't fully thinking. And after that, it evolved into a eukaryota, which does have a nucleus. So thinking begins with a nucleus. And these bacteria fed on each other so viciously that uh, that surviving that eventually had to become some extension of that. So bacteria started to clump together to look larger than just a single celled piece of bacteria or whatever. So in doing that, those cells began to communicate to one another and had formed into a, one multicellular animal, which we are thinking is fungus. We're thinking it's fungus. Protista is the next phase of bacterial life, and we think that that's fungus. So there was an original fungus before anything else, and that fungus was both plant and animal together. It's a eukaryote. It's an evolved eukaryota, and the name of it is um, Opisthokonta is the name of this exact evolved eukaryota. So, without getting too confused about it, with this like 4 different areas of evolution of biology to get to that point. Then the fungus grew by itself for a very long time, and eventually grew to the point where it could split away. So the plant life split away from the animal part, and you have 2 funguses now, one being plant life and one being animal life. This is like 2 billion years ago. So if you can imagine, all of the plant life after that, all of it, came from that original fungus that was plant and fungus. And then the animal portion went off into the ocean to build the vertebrae, and that's the fungus and animal portion of the original fungus. So in concept and in science somewhat, everything after that is still that same original fungus. So bacteria continue to evolve on its own to the bacteria that we have today, because it's got its own kingdom. And same with fungus, has grown off on its own to become the kingdom that we have today. But the other branches, plant and animal, are separate now. And with all of the biology adapting to the Earth's atmosphere slowly, there's a lineage of plant life there that show that it all came from the original fungus. So 2 billion years ago, there's no plant life, but there is fungus. And so today, the oldest fossil found on Earth is a fungus fossil. It's about 1 billion years old. It's amazing that they found that. But that's the only fossil that they found that's that old. There's nothing older than that. So there is evidence of fungus being the only source of plant life on land. Shortly after that, 750 million years later, there are petrified fossils of 25-foot mushrooms. So about 1 billion years ago, you just have fungus in the ground, and then you have 20-foot mushrooms at 750,000 years ago. Oh, sorry, 750 million years ago. So you can see the growth of what that fungus is doing. It was originally fungus, then it was in the ground, and now it's in a mushroom, and the Earth was completely covered with just those mushrooms and other types of fungi as well. Now, this is necessary, and this is great to study and realize, because the Earth wasn't born with soil. Wasn't born with any soil. How are you going to grow a pineapple or a cucumber? How are you going to grow anything? You don't have any soil. So it took millions of years of this fungi and all kinds of fungi, but a lot of it was just mushrooms, just collapsing and decaying, and then it would feed upon itself, mix in with the soil, and then after millions of years, you have what we call oil and sand together make soil. Therefore, you can't even start a plant explosion without that. So you have probably 500 million years of just soil building from mushrooms only. If you can think of a planet that's got rock, water, and mushrooms, it's really, really amazing to think that. But that went on for a long time until there was enough erosion to have soil to build a root system in. Then about 500 million years ago was the very beginning of ferns and really small ferns, basically. And then about 470, you had the plant explosion with all kinds of plants, and the forestry started, of course. And that had to be around for 200 million years, so that when the dinosaurs are here, they have a lot of food to eat. So you could see that there's a process in this biology growing into the plant life to feed a large group of animals. It's so mechanically locked that you couldn't do it any other way. And science has shown this. So you have the fungus doing what it's needing to do on the land. Meanwhile, in the ocean, the fungus the animal portion is becoming a vertebrae, amphibious, and then becoming an animal that can grow up, get up onto land to eat that food that's prepared for them. It's such a locked system. It's really crazy to see it actually work that simply. And it in theory and in reality somewhat we're still that fungus. So when we eat food from a plant source that's been photosynthesis powered, we're eating that energy from the sun, but it's also kind of a self-consuming process because that plant is also from the original fungus. We are from the original fungus, therefore we're kind of eating ourselves. It's a self-providing energy process, and there's something important that I have to explain why. You always want to ask why this system, why this system of why does it have to be like the self-consuming process? Well, because uh, the intent is to grow something smart enough to be incredibly observant of its own life and its environment, which is us. Well, that's us today. And if that animal were to be smart enough to observe our place in life after all this biological evolution, we would be able to go back and detect something that is what I call hidden true origin, or any kind of true origin whatsoever. Um, that is very crucial that we do not find out what that is. See, so this why answer is that long lineage of biology growth. It's hard to conceive that it is just putting taking out links in the chain so you can't really completely detect where you truly come from. That's very, very important, and that is the structure of biology. Hidden true origin is the structure of biology. If you can think about that, it's the only way that you can hide true origin from what might become smart and intelligent enough to want to go search for it, which is you and I. Um, and that is a locked system. It's very purposeful. It's mechanical. It's absolute. You can't avoid it. It is what life is, and from here on out, future wise, we're supposed to make our own food and eventually be able to leave the planet. And with that concept or reality in mind, you can see what biology had intended from the beginning. It's just a cell. It's just a piece of bacteria, but it needs to get off the planet. Just think about this. This bacteria knows it has to leave Earth because Earth has an end to it, right? It might just have an intuitive thing that it knows that it's not going to survive here, or its offspring or its cell division isn't going to last long. So to do that, it has to become a human. See, so the biology is working hard, become a fungus. That fungus is both plant and animal. Through all this plant evolution and animal evolution, become a human being capable of leaving Earth, and that's the relevant system. Hard to see, but that's what biology is all about. You can't do it any other way. You have to do it through biology.
There is a process, right, Mr. Mark? There's a process indeed. So, what ethical questions arise from advanced biological technologies such as gene editing and synthetic biology?
Yeah, well, those are futuristic things. That is our ladder to success, about living off a planet that is going to no longer be able to habitate our life. Um, so gene editing and technology are the only answer for us. It's the only way to really become capable of living in an atmosphere that's not like Earth anymore, and in whatever environment that we can make for ourselves to live in, because it's not going to be Earth. So that stuff is groundbreaking in the last 30, 40 years, and is really the answer. So you can see biology uh, actually is technology is kind of the same biology, because we are purely biology and we are 100% responsible for developing that technology. and the technology that will help us survive the end of Earth, that also is kind of a biological results technology. And you couldn't get technology any other way. So from bacteria to technology, you could see this locked system that's it's kind of like a juggernaut system. It's going to work no matter what. It's going to produce this animal capable of producing all these technologies, gene editing, and 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 then basically redesigning a human being to live away from Earth. And we're doing that now already. We're, to to get a human being to live in space or even on the moon coming up here for any length of time, it's going to take gene editing.
Very well said, Mr. Mark. We are now editing our biology. So, what
Yes.
biological discoveries in the United States have led to a Nobel Prize winning breakthrough in medicine and psychology?
Oh boy, I don't know. The discovery of DNA and the double helix.
Uh,
There's all those are the recent discoveries that we wouldn't be able to do any gene editing without. CRISPR is the ongoing thing of being able to do gene editing, and uh, I mean this is all just 50-year-old stuff. I mean we're just on the crisp of it. We've got hundreds and thousands of years now that we've achieved this, realization and reality about biology, that it's going to be amazing what's going to happen. It's going to be crazy. I see the human being actually looking different in just 100 years, looking different. So
mhm.
edit away, and I don't know who those Nobel Peace Prize winners are, but they're fantastic scientists that I forget their names, but they're great in their discoveries. In
Mm,
fact, I think it was a female
definitely.
that found the double helix, and she got it stolen from her professors or her scientists, leading scientists in her firm. Yeah.
So, Mr. Okay, Mr. Mark. Let's see
Hmm.
if is it the United States become one of the global leaders in biological or biomedical research?
Mm. Well, yeah, these are Americans that have discovered most of the stuff, not all of it. And it takes an entire globe of scientists to really push these discoveries and innovations together. But if your question is it America responsible? I would think primarily, but not completely.
Mm, it's a mix, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a
It's a
mix of a
contributor. Yeah.
nationality.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
be interesting. So this is included to your book itself, right? The Fingers
Yeah,
Theory. So
yeah. This is all.
which chapter of the book itself?
This is chapter 2 of biology, and it's trying to show that all the biology is one single process building one, and you can look at it like this: one single animal. So all the plants and animals, you and I, everything together is one locked mechanical system that makes us all one large animal producing the human that can eventually live away from Earth. And that's the idea. And in fact, that's the only way you could do that and promote conscious growth. So let's just say it like this: uh, not biologically, but just conceptually. If conscious growth is what you were after, and that is the product that we know of so far. Everything has been about conscious growth, and the human has grown the most consciously of all the other animals on the planet because we're brain size capable. But if that were the product that the universe is actually making, and I would say that it is, then that's why you have a biological system to generate the growth of consciousness, but it can only grow so much terrestrially. So think about that. We have an Earth, we have cars and uh, projects, architecture, medicine. We have all these things that are our culture, but eventually we're going to run out of things to do. We're going to have absorbed all that we can from a terrestrial existence and kind of can't grow consciously anymore here. That's one way of looking at it because it's about conscious growth. We do know that. The whole universe is about growing a consciousness and to its maximum. So or any terrestrial biosphere where that consciousness is grown is going to be limited to its growth consciously. So it needs to exit that plane of life when it exhausts all of its resources and discoveries. It's going to need to leave. It's going to be forced to leave anyway. And that's the process. So when you leave, you're now in a different environment, becoming more conscious with different elements. You're being supplied with more astronomical and cosmological elements rather than being confined to a terrestrial a prison after a while because you've absorbed all you can here as a conscious growth. And that conscious growth is the entire human consciousness together. It's the collective conscious, not just one individual, but it's all of us together. And we do grow together and will exhaust that one day. So that looks like a design, and it looks like all the biology is how that occurs and can't really occur any other way. So it's a strict system to produce conscious growth.
Hmm. Interesting, Mr. Mark. Interesting indeed. And to wrap
Hmm.
up our discussion for today, what will be the future of our biology?
Oh, you brought it up earlier. It's gene editing for sure.
Mhm.
And it's also the conditions of our environment as they change because we can't really predict, thousands of years into the future. And I think we do have thousands of years. Um, so we're going to need to rely on our environment, the changes of our environment, to propose new incremental changes that build us into the animal that we will be in the far future, which we will not resemble the same. We will not look like this. We will be different, and it's going to take the environment around us changing a lot in the next thousands and thousands of years. So it's a kind process. It's gonna it's gonna have us encounter new issues like that, and then one at a time we tackle those issues and find solutions. And in the thousands and thousands of years, you can see just it's almost like you don't even notice it in one person's individual lifetime. When you look at the history of it, it's a lot of changes in order to just stay ahead of the changing environment that is going to ask us to eventually leave Earth. Um, and it's quite beautiful to see, and it's quite beautiful to have the answer to life. Why life? Why this life? What's the outcome? We know what the outcome absolutely is. So it's just nice to, if you can kind of capitalize it and simplify the process that this biology is the only way to obtain a consciousness that grows, and that can only last so long on a terrestrial plane, and then it needs to exit that plane to grow more consciously. And it'll always go for 3 trillion years to the end of light.
Well, trillions of lights. We're hoping for the best for our biology, Mr. Mark. We're hoping that we are getting better and better and better, just like the AI. the
Yes.
AI, the AI version of human biology. Do you think it will happen?
I Well, it's hard to predict that, but I think that biology is true to life, and you can't combine both. I think it's accountability and a human inspiration or animal inspiration that is the true core of conscious growth, and it cannot be substitutized by anything or simulated by anything else. It has to be achieved by a biological organism.
Certainly, they cannot be both people.
No.
However, if we'll become like the biology of AI combined together, wow, that'd be awesome. Perfectionism is always be there. Don't you think?
It's always nice to get a little bit of help. Yeah.
Yes, the algorithm to be perfect is something else because people, wow, we are created to create mistake. So that's our authenticity. That is our
Yeah.
trademark. But who knows? Sooner or later, our biology will be like perfect. Hmm, I don't know
Yeah.
what will
That's it.
happen.
So it's at least work forward to it. Keep working towards it.
Looking forward for that, Mr. Mark. So, would you like to please plug in your book, Mr. Mark?
Sure, I'm the author of Fungus Theory of Conscious Growth, and it touches on everything. It's got 5 chapters that is cosmology, biology, evolution, technology, and psychology. And through each one of those chapters, it explains one complete system that is all of us together building conscious growth. And you can find that at my website, marklchristiansen.com, or you can go to Amazon, where it's Fungus Theory of Conscious Growth.
Conscious growth. Yes, people support Mr. Mark L. Christensen because if you support him for sure, more and more fungus theory will rise. So, Mr. Mark, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel.
Monica people, see you soon.